What's up guys, it's Ryan and you're watching Ryan Vision. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video and subscribe for more. Check out projectzj.com for all the videos and information on this Jeep. Everything that's been done to the Jeep's been covered in videos, and everything that's going to be done in the future will be covered as well. So make sure you check out that website and subscribe, that way you don't miss out on anything. Today, kind of a big update. For you guys that have been following, you probably already noticed the white links going on up front. Got a new steering setup. It's from Ruff Specialties, which I'm lucky enough to be local to. They're in Loomis, I'm in Rockland, so literally I can get off work at 5 o'clock, go home, you know, grab whatever parts I'm bringing back or whatever I'm doing, and still have time to get over there. Probably takes me maybe 15 minutes to get over there, and they're open till 6:30. So feel really lucky to have a fabrication place like that so close by, with all the great builder parts and the really good customer service. All the guys there really know what they're talking about, and they're willing to take the time to mock stuff up and help you out. So I'm going to go over all of that. But basically what I'm running is a over-the-knuckle Y-link setup, and it's custom made using tubing and Heims from Ruff Specialties. So let's get right into it. I'll show you what I got going on. There's a couple issues I still have to deal with, so we'll touch on all that right now. Alright guys, so here's a closer look at the steering. So basically what this started out as was a Ruff 7/8 steering kit is what they call it. And basically you get two pieces of tube. I believe it's I want to say it's 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. I'm gonna have to double check, I don't even know. But it's 1/4 inch thick tubing, and then it comes with 7/8 inch Heims. But then decided to modify the kit a little bit. I was in there, like I said, I'm local to Ruff stuff, so they were showing me this new piece that you're seeing over on the left side of the tie rod, and that's their new Y-link adapter with a tube adapter. So you basically put it in line with the tie rod and you get your Y-link set up. So I was, you know, willing to try it out. I was running into some binding issues with my other steering kit, so I figured, you know, this should hopefully help, since that lower end has pretty much unlimited flex. But you still are somewhat limited, because the Heim up on the pitman arm, it only has so much misalignment. You can only droop it down so far, so be aware of that. So basically, like I said, it started out as a 7/8 steering kit. That got me my tube, and that got me some of the Heims, and then I bought some more Heims, you know, for the Y-link there, and also ended up having to do a custom track bar. I'll show you that in just a second. So basically what this kit allowed me to do was keep my tie rod above the knuckle, which is how I was with the Iron Rock Offroad kit. And the reason for that is you just want as much clearance as possible. Anytime you're doing a lot of wheeling on rocks, you want to try to get all your vital links and stuff as high as you can. So the tie rod's very important. You bash that on a rock, your alignment's going to be out of whack, and hopefully, you know, you don't break it, you just bend it, but it's going to tweak your alignment pretty bad, and it could cause clearance issues too. It could start hitting on, you know, things like your diff cover and things like that. So I wanted to keep it over the knuckle. So what we had to do was we drilled the knuckles. They were already drilled to 5/8 for the Iron Rock kit. We drilled those 5/8 holes out to 3/4. Big thanks to Mitch for handling the drilling. The dude was a machine. I have this just death trap of a drill from, like, I don't even know, maybe the 70s, and it just has, like, I don't even know how much torque, enough to spin you completely around. And if you don't believe me, I'm telling you as a fact, because one time I was drilling through my firewall, laying in my Jeep kind of funny, and that thing grabbed and completely rotated my body around. So it's a death trap. He manned up and drilled those holes out to 3/4. So big thanks to Mitch on that. Also, he did the cutting on the axle. Had to remove the factory track bar bracket and the steering stabilizer bracket, and also the unused upper control arm bracket on the passenger side, since this is an Iron Rock Offroad long arm kit, which is a 3-link setup. It does not use an upper on the passenger side. So Mitch, thanks so much, man, for all the work you did on this project. Couldn't have done it without you. For those of you guys that haven't been following the project for very long, a lot of my stuff has been bolt-on. I'm just now starting to get into this fabrication stuff, learning how to weld, literally learning how to use a grinder, so I'm new to this, but I have experts like Mitch and Nate and the guys over at Ruff Stuff and a lot of other people I've met through the Jeep community. So big thanks to all you guys. So like I said, we got the holes drilled out to 3/4 on the knuckles, put some 3/4 grade 8 hardware in there. Also had to drill the pitman arm, which was already drilled out to 5/8 for the Iron Rock kit. Drilled that out to 3/4 and threw some grade 8 hardware in there. And then just kind of dialed in all the hardware. You know, initially you get everything bolted on, and then you figure out what bolts are too long. You know, if you have any that are too short, then you measure everything and you get it dialed in, because you want it to look nice and you also want to have plenty of thread engagement, but you don't want, you know, a ton of bolt hanging out past the nuts either. So let's go a little bit closer and I'll show you some of the things I did to dial in the hardware, and also some of the cutting that had to be done to make clearance for a straight tie rod on a Dana 30. So one of the major clearance issues we ran into with the Dana 30 was these factory coil buckets down here. They extended out quite a bit and would not let you run a straight tie rod all the way across without hitting. You didn't even have to go to full lock, it would hit pretty soon. And so what we ended up doing is just cutting these straight across on both sides. And then again, Ruff Stuff Specialties has these coil kits, and basically it comes with 3 plates. You've got a base plate that the coil sits on, and then you've got a locator plate in the middle. You can't see it, and it just keeps the spring from wandering around. And then on the top, that's the actual isolator, and it sandwiches the bottom of the coil in place. So there's a big 3/4 grade 8 bolt in there and a nut on the bottom side that holds that all in place. And you do need to weld the locator plate to the base plate so it doesn't rattle around, because you won't always be able to get that center plate tight with the bolt. One thing to be aware of with this setup is it will raise your coil about 1 3/4 inches, so just make sure you have the right size coils. If you're already level, you will be higher in the front when you get done doing this. Okay, so here's a shot of the pitman arm, and I just wanted to show you this real quick to show you these beautiful 7/8 Heim joints from Ruff Stuff and the misalignments. And this is basically a safety washer. If this Heim joint were to come apart, if the ball were to separate from the housing, this diameter is bigger than this, so it would just come down here and rattle around, and sure, it would be sketchy, but at least this wouldn't fall completely off. Also, this is a weld washer right here. I'm running another weld washer up top. These are great because they look nice, but also if you're dialing in your hardware, let's say you have a bolt that has no threads, you know, a certain length, and then threads at the bottom. If you're tightening your nut all the way and it's not catching thread anymore, it's hitting the blank spot, then you can put a weld washer up here and up here to make sure that you're threaded all the way until you're completely snugged, you know, torqued as tight as you can get it. So you can see I'm running those throughout. I've got them on both sides of my track bar mount on the frame, and this is a Rusty's Off-Road HD frame mount. I originally had a Rusty's Off-Road adjustable track bar. So again, they just look nice, they help you dial in the hardware. So I'm running those on the axle side as well. You can see down there I've got some weld washers, and those are Ruff Stuff. I believe those are medium length tabs, and again, Mitch, he welded those on at an angle, figured everything out, and got them on there. So I'm running a Heim down there. Down there is 9/16 hardware, and up here on the frame side I'm running 5/8 hardware, mainly just because I ran out of drill bits. I was bending them, and you know, I figured that's plenty for the track bar. And just give you a little closer look of how the track bar is mounted to the axle, so you can see all the factory mounts and brackets have been removed. Still need to do some cleanup work and paint there, but we've got those tabs there pre-drilled from Ruff Stuff. Welded those on, got them just at the right angle, and we've got a Heim in there with the spacers that fit just perfectly in there. And then it's just going straight up to the frame mount. So really nice, clean setup. Lots of Heims everywhere you look. I love it. Okay, and what I'm showing you here with this angle is Mitch strategically placed the tabs to get the track bar angle and the drag link angle as close as possible, so you can see they're parallel. The only issue that I have, and you know, it's hard to get it perfect unless you're running high steer, the only issue that I have is the track bar is about 3 inches shorter than the drag link. But so far it's been working out pretty well, so no complaints there, and you can see how close the angles are. Mitch did a really good job on that. So one of the major issues I'm running into so far, and I'm experimenting with a cure right now, is with a Y-link setup, it's a known fact that you're going to run into tie rod roll. And the reason for that is, let me turn you back around. The reason for that is when the drag link starts moving, before this wants to go left and right, it's going to try to go up or down depending which way you're turning. And so that makes the tie rod want to roll before it catches and actually starts going back and forth. So one way that I'm trying to eliminate some of that roll, because it does feel pretty sketchy on the road, is I'm using a Ruff stuff. They call it the cure, and it's normally used on the Y-link part where the drag link meets the tie rod. I'm using it over here on the knuckles on both sides, and it's just a Delrin, you know, hardened plastic piece. The bolt is pushing down onto the heim and just trying to eliminate some of that front to back roll, but not completely. You do need a little of it during suspension cycle and everything like that. You need a little bit of movement. So again, 3/4 grade 8 hardware on top of the Delrin spacer, and then the nylock nut down here. And so far this is helping a lot, but I'm going to test it out. It is plastic, so I'm going to see if the bolt keeps coming loose. You know, so far it hasn't. I've got it snug down, but I'm just wondering if the plastic's going to flex, or if the plastic lip maybe will even start cracking here. So we'll check that out. I'll keep an eye on that and let you guys know how it goes. But so far it seems to be working pretty well, and I'm going to trim. There's a little lip on here. I'm going to trim that off because it is a thin lip, and I did see a little piece chip off on the passenger side. So I'll trim that down, try running these, see how it does, and I'll let you guys know. But other than that, I have to say I'm pretty excited and pretty happy with the way this steering kit came out. And you know, it handles nice. It's not binding anymore, which is great. I can completely flex it out, do full droop, and still be able to turn the steering wheel, which is a problem I ran into with the Iron Rock kit. Once I got up near 14 inches of suspension travel, I started having some binding. Other than that, the Iron Rock kit was great. If you're looking for a bolt-on kit, I would suggest the Iron Rock kit because it has a tie rod that's actually has bends in it, so you don't run into these clearance issues and have to do the cutting I was just talking about. But just be aware that on the Iron Rock kit, let me turn you back this way, over here the drag link connects under the knuckle, so it's exposed. It's got large clamps that can get hit. It'll knock you out of adjustment on your drag link, things like that. And eventually I did bend the tie rod just slightly, and I put a little bend in the drag link as well. So be aware of that, and also be aware of, you know, people advertising solid steel. It actually bends easier than tube steel does. So just need to be aware of that when you're making a choice. Well guys, that's it for today. Just kind of wanted to give you an introduction and a brief overview of the new steering setup. So I've got a lot of testing to do. I'm going to test everything out. I'm going to do some more flex tests. I'm going to test those Delrin spacers out. So you can expect another video pretty soon, probably within the next week or two, giving you an update on how everything's performing. And also I'll do the touch-up work, get the axle cleaned up, get the axle painted, and probably do some touch-up paint on the white links as well, because they just got kind of dirty and scarred up from the wrenching and things like that. So I'll get it all cleaned up, get it all tested out, and let you guys know how it does. So again, if you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe on YouTube, check me out on Instagram. It's projectzj.c0m. They wouldn't let me do .com. And if you check out projectzj.com, it's got all the videos, it's got all the build information, and it's got links to everything, including Instagram. So make sure you check that out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.